getting that first win straight away off to a flying start, just what you were after. I think Brian Graham kept the scoring run going, and it was just about getting off the mark, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was a big part that I had in my head. Really, was you want to get your first win in the league. I think when you've done well in the cup games and even pre-season games that I keep alluding to, then I just think that it was really important that you make a mark on league competition. We know that the leagues are bread and butter. We know that that's the most important competition in any season, really. And I just think that for us it was to win the game. There were bits that we done okay in the game, and there were absolutely elements of it that we feel that we can do so much better and have shown that side of us. As I say, I'm not looking at it and saying I wonder if. It's that we know that we can, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes I'm okay in the sense that you win the game in that fashion. I think we're going to have to do that quite a lot when we're on the road to try and get 3 points, to be resilient for periods of the game. So no, I think what it did was showed people in our group what the league will look like at times, and it becomes different being on the road, and it's slightly different being at home. So a decent start for us. Our thought process is, can we go and get a similar outcome, but can we go and try and do it with a slightly better performance?
And you put look into the team, just shook it up a little bit on that side of the pitch for an afternoon.
Yeah, I think I've said this and I've explained it to the guys individually as well, that they've all shown something. They've all shown some real good quality, and I think my job then starts to become, especially with those kind of wider creative players, you need to find that sweet spot. You need to make sure that you're getting them in the team at the right times. And that's not to discredit, for example, Richard Chin coming out of the team. Richard's been excellent since he came in here as well. It's just trying to find the right combinations for those games. We all speak about it. We all speak about wide players at times can be a little bit inconsistent. The reason why they are is because you're asking them to take more risk than anybody else. You're asking them to take their opponent on. And we just felt with Luke that he had looked fantastic for pretty much 2 weeks. We thought he'd come on in games and had a real good impact. And watched him in training. He looked really sharp. He looked good. But Rich has responded this week as well, and we feel that the likes of Adam Emsley's been so consistent in his performances. So these guys are vying for. We've got probably 3. You could probably chuck a Lewis Jamieson into the mix that can do a similar type of job to these guys. You've sort of got 4 at times vying for 2 spots, and we're going to have to try and pick the right combinations. But whoever starts is fine. That's great, but the guys that aren't starting are going to have a massive part to play, and we've seen that time and again, even in this short space of time, that if you come on the pitch, we need you to make an impact.
Montrose coming up here after a couple of difficult results, but they showed in the cup with 3 big wins before that, what they're capable of.
Yeah, I think you look at the group and there's good players, good experience, a lot of guys that have been exposed to football in higher divisions. I think in Stuart they've got a really good manager. I think it's a really well run football club, so I think you've always got to be aware of the wounded animal, haven't you? As the old cliche goes, difficult day for them, no doubt. And Saturday, and we've watched that game back, and we've watched some of their earlier games in pre-season as well. They've got good qualities. That was a bad day for them last week. I wouldn't dress it up. I wouldn't imagine Stuart would dress it up. So what that then means for me is a probable reset for them and their thinking and their approach, and envisage a really difficult game here on Saturday.
Chris Hamilton, how close is he to being considered?
Yeah, he's pushing on. He's trained this week again. He's looking good. He's doing bits extra after the sessions, which is good because it was a kind of loading injury, Paul. It was. I think I said at the time it's almost a runner's injury from my understanding of it. So it's that loading, it's that impact. Nothing really serious, but there's treatment he can get within that. So Chris won't be available this week. He gets another bout of treatment towards the end of this week. Is the only time we could fit that in, which means that he'll have to have a day or so recovery after that. But then we're hoping thereafter that we can really start to push him on and kick him on.
Okay. Other team news ahead of the weekend?
No, I've just we've had another look at it. You look at it the night before, and then you look at it on the morning. We're not bad. I think we've got one young player that's injured, and I think every other player's fit and available at this minute in time. Testament to the players, testament to the medical staff. Been a wee bit of an adjustment there in how we work, and that One of the physios is now sort of part-time and one of the physios is full-time, so that's been a wee bit of an adjustment for us as a football club. I know we speak about it's great not having injuries, but again I need to acknowledge the work that's been done there. But I think especially alluding to the players as well, that pretty much most days now we're seeing everybody getting up and getting out and going and training, and that's what I expect, that's what I think it should be.
I was going to ask you about that because I'm hearing good things about the players putting in extra work and almost socialising at the gym. You know, it seems to be a really good positive atmosphere now among the players and drive.
Yes, I kind of to the supporters on Tuesday, Alistair, I spoke about this and tried to give a wee bit of an example. We signed a number of the guys early on, and you know what does this do for you? I think it can be a powerful thing over the course of a season, but I'm just thinking about 4 of the guys in particular. I think they stay in the same street and they sort of live out each other's pockets, dinners, coffees, that type of thing. But you also see it round about here, but it's not a clique. What I think that was the first wave of players that came in really sort of connected with one another. I keep paying a bit of tribute to the guys that were existing because they welcomed it all in. So anybody that's come in subsequently, you have this frame here, you have this nucleus, and anybody that comes in seems to be filtering into that. And I know it's good when you're winning games and you feel like you're playing well, but for me that's the bit that serves you when times are hard and you know games are difficult, training sessions, your performance, that's what you need to fall back to. I always think this is your sanctuary here, but having that decent way of living outside that, and for a lot of these guys, look, McCarville, Lewis Reed, these guys, you know, I'm just using a couple, they're moving away from home for the first time, you know, they're having to spend time away from home, so having good people run about you like and you trust, it helps them no doubt in their performance here.
It's got echoes of different eras in the past for us, kind of, but it's always been the successful eras. You've had that kind of thing going on, you know, living together.
Again, I don't want to be disrespectful of anything else. I can only ever control what I see and what I'm involved in. And even at that, sometimes you can't control every part of that, as much as that frustrates a kind of black and white thinker like myself. I know what this looks like to be successful. I do, and that's not to say that in an arrogant fashion. I understand what it looks like with successful teams.
Club,
as a player, as a coach, as a manager, I absolutely do. And you know, when you do a bit of soul searching and a bit of fact finding yourself over the course of a pre-season or the end of last season or even during last season, that's the first pillar that sits there, a unity in your group. I speak about creating a culture. You have to have that unity in your group and you have to have standards to create your culture. It doesn't come first. So I think it's fair to say that that's something that I've been angling towards for quite some time here. And like I say, it's those dark days, it's those hard days that I think it pulls you through. Everybody enjoys the wins and playing well. It's more when that adversity comes. Yeah.
I was just going to ask a question maybe we could retain for early next week, and that's how you're going to use the Challenge Cup, because you're at Elgin on Tuesday, you know, as an opportunity to look at other players who maybe haven't been involved.
Yeah, really simple, Paul. We want to try and win everything, every game of football we play. So I don't know if that gives you an indication. You guys watched us here a number of years ago. We gave a lot of opportunity to people when we won the Challenge Cup here the last time around in a League and Cup double. So the team altered at times to make sure there was opportunity. I think Ross Monroe was the one that jumps into my head at the time as a young goalkeeper that was given good experience in that competition. But I do remember saying at that point that we're trying to win every game of football that we play. There's no buys, it doesn't really matter if we don't win this one. We're trying to win every single game we can. But obviously within my head, I need to make sure that everybody's ready to play at some point, you know, so minutes in the legs is pivotal. We've got the North of Scotland Cup, which is in there as well. I was at Lossiemouth last night against Rothes. Stevie was at Forres and Nairn. A couple of the guys were at Invergord and Clach. We were spread across the north last night, out watching games of football, and the guys that are out on loan. It's just so important to us that everybody's getting that opportunity to play and try and make an impression. And this becomes another competition to try and do that, but always with that sole focus that we want to win.
Yeah, I spoke to Stephen Laird yesterday. He anticipates clearly a hard game, but at the same time it's his home fixture and he's want his team to demonstrate their best example. Yeah,
Stefan's been great. Campbell Money here's spoken to them with regards, and Stephen Ferguson has spoken to them with regards to the cooperation loan. We've also got a couple of guys out there just now. Really good win for them at the weekend, so they're doing things well. They're doing well. It'll be a tough game for us, without question. But as I say, we believe that we've got, I think there was one missing out in the squad there. Two, if you want to include Chris Hamilton from the weekend. So we've got guys that are champing at the bit and desperate for some game time and for some action. And as always, I sort of put that bit across as it's a chance to make an impression. It's a chance to really force the issue in your area of the pitch. But I've got no doubt in my mind that it'll be a difficult game against Elgin.